what are these OKRs? How can we use, why are we talking about them? So OKRs are a tool to bring everyone on the same page. But at the same time, I like them because they allow to keep autonomy and creativity in the teams and in the organization. So this is me. I really will spend a second. As I said, I'm Manuele. I moved to the UK, to London 6 years ago. I'm an Agile coach at Agile Reloaded, and there are my contacts there. Of course, we're going to share the slides as a PDF tomorrow, so you can reach out to me. And also at the end, there will be the contacts for Agile Reloaded. All right. Moving on. So today we're gonna talk about what are the OKRs, why we think it's a good idea, could be a good idea to use them, how we use them, and question and answer at the end. But as I said, there's also a couple of pit stops in the middle of the presentation. All right, so this is where I'll ask you to become interactive with this tool. So you can use it on your phone, or you can use it on a web browser. If you are on the phone, you can easily scan the QR code, and that should take you to the proper page. If not, go to www.menti.com and insert that code. So I'll give you a few seconds to do that, and if you have any trouble, shout out. Okay, someone has started already. So yeah, the question is, if you think about a time when you were not clear on your team's goals, what did you experience? What did you feel? What happened? And you're supposed to put like a word to summarize that. So yeah, so frustration, confusion, confused. The work was not useful, waste of time, tired, tension, alone, annoyed, delay. So yeah, there's quite a few things. Rework, overload. Very nice. So yeah, there's like 2-3 themes here, right? So one is some work is gonna end to be wasted. So there's like waste of work, so inefficiency, but there's also frustration, which seems to be like recurring. So frustration, kind of sense of confusion. So it looks like it's actually not a good feeling. Besides the objective, waste of work, it's actually not a good feeling to be kind of lost in your goals. Unhappy, annoyed, confused. Okay, thanks for that. So yeah, so I just wanted to kind of gauge where we are, and then hopefully some of the things that we discussed will be useful to prevent this and to keep everyone aligned. All right, let's move on. So what are they? So first of all, yes, I've been using OKRs for a while now, but actually, what is this? It's an acronym. It stands for Objective and Key Results. So it's a goal-setting framework. It's nothing really mystical. It has been introduced at Intel quite some years ago now, and then after that, it has spread kind of naturally to Google, And then from there, it has been used nowadays in many modern tech companies, Google, Netflix, and you name it, like big and smaller tech companies. So as we said, they are composed of mainly two things. There is an objective, which is a statement of a broad goal. Usually this broad goal is kind of qualitative in nature. It's broad on purpose. It's not supposed to be very specific, but it's supposed to be kind of inspiring. But then together with this statement, this objective, there are one or more, usually you have like 2, 3, up to 5 key results, which are some measures of the achievement towards the objective. And they're supposed to be, in this case, they are supposed to be numeric. So they have number that say, this is how we know that we are progressing towards the goal and eventually achieve the goal. I should also mention that OKRs are always referred to a specific time frame that most usually is the quarter or a year. Usually you have both. All right. I just want to do an example straight away to connect it to something more tangible. This is a napkin that was drawn during a lunch by David Sachs at Uber, and it was supposed to kind of give the strategy in 2014 for the company. It kind of draws like a virtuous cycle. So they were asking themselves, if I want to have more demand, what can I do? And they said, okay, we believe we need more drivers. More drivers will give us more geographic coverage. And more geographic coverage and more drivers as a consequence, they will cause faster pickups and less driver downtime. As a consequence, lower price, and this in turn will increase the demand. So this is kind of like a cycle, like a virtuous cycle. It's kind of feeding itself. So on the back of this strategy, they came up with a series of OKRs. I have one here, for example. There were a few. So objective, I want to increase the drivers in the system. Because there is an assumption here that more drivers will actually feed this cycle, which is part of the strategy. So how do I measure that? How do I know if I succeed? I have two key results. The first one, I want to increase the driver base by 20% in each region. And the second is, I want to increase the driver average session to be 26 hours on a week base, again, in all active regions. So as you can see, the objective is high level. The key results, what you see, there are numbers there. So good key results, there is some needle that is supposed to change of a percentage or some other factor, but there is a measure, like a quantitative measure of some needle moving. All right. Some properties of OKRs, we'll see they are defined at multiple levels and they go on cascade. So usually you define yearly company OKRs and then quarterly company OKRs. And then after that, you might have team OKRs or whatever department, depending how the company is structured. For example, if you use some sort of, let's use the Spotify model, let's call it a model. Then you might have company OKRs, tribes OKRs, team OKRs, but they kind of cascade down the levels, and they can get to the individual level. So as a person, as an individual, I have my own personal OKRs. They are supposed to be a navigational aid. So they tell you if you are moving closer to where you want to be, your objective. So, and as a consequence, they need to be discussed and reviewed. So I don't know if you're familiar with, user stories, right? They are a promise for a conversation. Same here. OKRs are supposed to be challenged, discussed, maybe changed if at least usually the objective is vague, kind of is high level enough so that it usually stays valid, but KRs might be reviewed if it makes sense. So remember, they have value because they drive the individual, the team, the company towards an expected better state. Right, and so what they are not a to-do list. Sometimes I've seen, okay, let's define the OKRs for the next quarter. We're gonna build this product, this feature, this and this and this and this and this, right? So that's a backlog, that's a list of initiatives that it's something that is good to discuss, but they should come as a consequence of a goal that it's supposed to be, agreed and shared. And initiatives should actually really be delegated to the people in the team to decide how they want to achieve that goal. So for this reason, they are not rigid and completely top down, right? So usually shouldn't be, you go to a team, these are your OKRs for the quarter, right? Goodbye, let me know how it goes. But usually they are, there is a part that might be proposed by a business representative, could be a product manager or product owner in the team. But then it should be something that, so Google, for example, they recommend in their guidelines, 60% it comes bottom up from the team, 40% comes top down. And they are both discussed and merged together. Ideally, they shouldn't be tied to performance review or bonuses or anything that can impact negatively or even positively a team or individual state. The idea being that if my goal is supposed to is tied to me getting or not the bonus, it will hinder my ability to be innovative, to have the courage to try something new, to be innovative. So if an OKR is not reached, that's not supposed to become a punishment. And so, as the last point is, they're not used to identify who's performing and who is not performing, or or the bad apple. All right, but how do they fit? Well, surely you've heard about, we have so many things: the vision, the mission, the strategy, the initiative, the task, the KPI. Now you're coming with this OKR and you're telling us to change everything. No, they all work well with everything that is already there. They are just at a different level. So the vision is important for a company. It's why the company exists. The mission is how the company is going to fulfill that vision. The strategy comes down from there. In the case of Uber, you see in that year, it was a napkin, sketched during lunchtime. But then after that, you have this other layer of, a goal, a set of goals and their measurement. And then the next level would be what initiative, tasks, do I need to do to make sure that I move these needles in the key results? So this I put this to kind of explain that they're not substituting some of the stuff, or they are not, and kind of where they fit in this hierarchy. Okay, so now a quick question. I have 3 examples, and I would like you to tell me which you believe it's an OKR. To be honest, it's pretty easy, but so number 1, I will start my diet in July. Number 2, in this period, July, September, I want to improve my health. So for doing that, I will reduce carbs to 40 grams per day. Sorry, the M should be there. I will run 30 minutes 3 times a week, and then I will do meditation 10 minutes per day. And number 3 is in 2021, I want to improve my health. Okay, I'll give it another few seconds to let you express your preference. Yes, there's a bit of a giveaway, to be honest, right? Yeah, so the second is already structured in that format, so objective, and then KR1, KR2, and KR3. So this is not difficult. All right, so yeah, so but still, I just want to say a little bit about, okay, so why is not the first one an OKR? This is already a solution, right? I'm saying I'm starting my diet in July. Doesn't really say why. It doesn't say why I'm motivated to do that. And this is the correspondent of the shopping list, right? So we're gonna build this and this and this and that. Yes, but why? What are we trying to achieve with that? So, and then, if you ask me, right, why are you starting your diet? Oh, because I feel that I want to improve my health. And then I might say, okay, so that's my goal, really. My real goal is actually I want to improve my health. And then they say, okay, what does it mean? What is this diet about? How do I measure if you're actually doing that diet? And then I say, okay, I'm going to go for a keto diet because these days it's pretty popular, whatever. and so fine, I'll try to stay below 40 grams of carbs per day. But then I think, okay, you know what? But if my goal is to improve my health, maybe I could do something else. Maybe the diet is not enough. And I can think of this because now I have explicitated my goal, right? So if I was starting with the diet only, that's it. I'm going to do the diet. But thinking about the goal is actually making me think, oh, you know what? I should also be more active. How do I know if I'm more active? For example, one KR is running 30 minutes 3 times per week. Can I say if I'm doing that or not? Yes, it's clearly measurable. And then since I have a broader goal, I can think of, well, what about my mental health? Is it all about being fit? If my goal is health, then maybe I can think of something else. What about mental health? Well, there's many things I can do, right? These are some examples. And one example is 10 minutes of meditation per day. It's pretty easy. It's a sustainable goal. I'll just use, Headspace, whatever, and I'll make sure to carve out 10 minutes every day. So you see how focusing on the goal can make you find other things that you wouldn't think of if you were just going straight, right, I'm going to go for the diet. So the third one is a goal. So it's not a solution. yes, I want to improve my health, but it's not an OKR because the measuring system is not there. The KRs are not there. So the OKR, the main feature of OKRs is that embedded with the goal, you also have how do I measure the progress towards that goal. All right. Let's continue. I think, yes, I think we have a pit stop here. So you can use the tool to add questions here. So this is a moment to stop and see if there's any confusion or if you have questions. So you can use the tool, of course, and the questions will appear here, but don't be too bothered. You can also shout out or put it in the chat, whatever suits you, and we'll spend a few minutes, like 3-4 minutes here to see if there's any question at this stage. Looks like for now it was pretty clear, or you're all very shy. Nothing so far. Okay, good.
Or both, or you are very clear and we are very shy.
Yeah, or both. Or maybe I'm so unclear that that you don't know.
We have a question in the chat. Manu, is it possible for business area to adopt OKR while the rest of organization relies on conventional KPI?
Okay, yeah, let me, all right. Is it possible for business, to adopt OKRs while the rest of the organization relies on conventional KPIs? So KPIs and OKRs are a bit different. And I mean, that doesn't mean that they can live together. But I wouldn't mix them by level. So I would say if a business area, so unless you do a pilot, so if you say, okay, I'm going to do a pilot to try OKRs, so then I'm going to apply on that business area, and in the teams involved, then yes, by any means, you can try, but I wouldn't go by level by saying in that business area, higher level we have OKRs and below we have KPIs, because they're slightly different, and it's good that they are kind of aligned. So I wouldn't do that. What I would do is I would do a pilot in an area, saying in that area we're going to try OKRs and see how it works. And then KPIs could be something that you keep anyway, but so they work in a slightly different way. So for example, if you say, I want to reduce the operational cost, we have an example later, by 20%. So that's a KR. The goal is reduce operational costs in general. And then you can have a KPI, which is kind of a health metric that says, let's not include, tech debt shouldn't increase. But while I try to do that, I should not increase tech debt, or response time should be less than this. So you can keep those, but I would still have OKRs at all the levels. Does it make sense?
Yeah, certainly. If I may add a bit more context, am I audible?
Yes, you are. Yeah.
Yeah, so certainly you had made the difference between KPIs and OKR quite clear through your earlier slides. So my question was more from the perspective of an organization which is new to OKRs. So should it be the top-down approach which they should take while implementing the OKRs, or should they start, as you were rightly mentioning, with the pilot, and how the adoption is? Because I was trying to see the vis-a-vis analysis. For example, the project management office, the company which is pretty much tuned to waterfall ways of working, which has the project management office. And the moment anyone tries to embark on the agile journeys, there will be major roadblocks on that particular unit or for that particular project type, because the rest of the organization is not supportive to adopt the agile ways of working. So I was trying to find out if it is similar for OKRs or is it altogether different?
Okay, so let me connect to this a bit later, because I got your question very clear now, but I think I'll completely answer in a slide that I have later, because it's really related to this, if that's okay.
Sure, thank you.
Thanks, Amit. So some of the key results you lost are behaviors. Is this okay? I'm not sure if I understand entirely the question. Like, what do you mean by lost? If you can help me with this. The owner of list. Okay, some of the you list are behaviors. Yes. They could be behaviors. Yeah, so it could be a behavior that is changing. It could be some other. As I said, you can imagine some needles in some gauges and say, okay, this is what I want to change. It could be a customer behavior that you're trying to change. It could be an internal behavior that you're trying to change. Yeah, that's fine. Doesn't have to be, but it makes sense. All right, how realistic, challenging should the OKRs be? We'll talk about this, but they need to be, just to answer to this right now, they need to be challenged enough so that you feel kind of, it's not too easy to reach them, right? You have the situation where you say, well, if I basically don't do anything, I'm kind of nearly reached the goal. So they need to be stretching a little bit. And usually Google says, you should phrase them in a way that you never entirely, basically it's impossible to entirely reach it. And so what you do is you say, if I go 70% in the right direction, I declare that a success. So you will never reach it 100%. So they kind of keep it a bit, unreachable, but then you say 70% is a success. At the same time, you don't want them to be unrealistic, because if they are absolutely unrealistic, then they're not motivating, right? What's the purpose of trying to believe and accomplish something that is completely out of reach? So that doesn't work as a motivator. So they need to be a bit hard to reach, but reachable, or at least you can go in the right direction. We can move in the right direction quite enough. So I'll mark this as answered. Okay. Yes, I'll keep this for later, if that's okay. Smart is so last year. Have a look at Smart. Smart can fit within. Okay, that's something it would be good to discuss later. Also, in the performance evaluation process, so actually, I wouldn't use them. So what do you mean here? Performance of a system, of a team, or like an individual? If I can ask you. For the owner of this question, if you can help me to clarify a little bit. I will definitely not use it for individual performance. I still think that they shouldn't be tied to performance, but if you kind of mix them with KPI, then measuring a system performance, I guess it's fine. But more than but then if you mean performance says, are we successful? Like, are we going towards success? Then yes, then definitely that's the purpose. Okay, I'll mark this as answered, but feel free to shout if I didn't really answer. There's another question here, and then after this I'll move on. If an OKR is associated with a future goal, is it correct to say that we will then associate a KPI to it to measure is achievement or not. So it will be the KR. The KR will actually measure if you achieve the goal or not. So this is the purpose of the KR, which is part of the OKR. Okay, I'll move on now. We'll have another couple of spots for questions. Right, so why OKRs? So we said what they are, and you kind of said, in the first interaction, you said, well, without goals, without clear goals, I felt lost, and we ended up wasting time. So that's kind of, good reasons to try and implement a goal setting framework. But I want to say a little bit more about this, and we'll do it with the quiz. Unfortunately, we can't do it in the pub given COVID, but we'll do it with the Mentimeter. And I think that should also be music. So, yes. So these are all your avatars. Okay, let's get started. Did you have a chance to vote? Yeah? Okay, good. Perfect. So, yeah, okay. You went more on the pessimistic side, but it's not far. So yeah, it's only 55% of managers that are able to name at least one company priority, which is kind of, still a bit worrying, right? Half of them are actually able to say what the company is trying to prioritize. What is the goal for the most important goal for the next iteration, whatever, the quarter or the year. Now, second question. Yes, and in this case, pessimism is the right way. So, 30% of the employees in company worldwide are actually engaged, which is pretty demoralizing, I would say. So yeah, this data is based on, it's actually a survey from 20. Oh, by the way, we have a winner, which is, we have 4 winners at the top. So unfortunately, you're gonna have to share the price, which is nothing at this stage. But yeah, right. So this data is coming from a survey from 2016 from Gallup, which of course they've been gathering data from a lot of companies and teams across the world, and yeah, it's interesting to notice, and it gives like a measure of how hard it is to make priorities visible, understood, clear throughout the organization, and how easy it's also to feel disengaged at work. So I mean, let's quickly recap about OKRs, and then I'll go back to this topic of engagement. And I think I'll also connect to your question, if I'm not wrong, Amit, about when you were saying, you know, how about OKRs and KPIs? Are they part of different cultures? What if the company is mostly waterfall and stuff? So I'll talk about it. So to recap, OKRs, they help you with discipline your thinking. So writing them in this form and discussing them and reviewing them across the organization will make sure that only the most important goals will surface. They are a communication tool, right? They are supposed to be visible, shared, and everyone should know in the organization what's important. They have embedded the measurement for success, so that you can always ask, where are we towards the goal? And they keep you focused in the organization. Thank you, Alberto. Now, regarding the motivational part. So possibly many of you or some of you have heard about or read this book, Drive by Daniel Pink, where he shares a lot of data from studies, research, where kind of it comes out that there are some surprising elements to what is driving them. To really boil it down to 3 words, in the book, Daniel says, it's really important to be motivated that we have 3 elements. Autonomy. So we have some margins of, we can take decision in some areas with autonomy. Mastery. I am allowed to become better at what I do and supported in becoming better at what I do. This is kind of, I don't know if you heard about, when I'm coding or when I'm playing guitar, I am in the flow, right? Nothing else matters. I am happy just because I do that and I'm good at doing that. This is mastery, and it's a feeling of, it gives you a feeling of fulfillment. And the other is purpose. I know why I'm doing what I'm doing, and I can see that it will have an impact, that it's larger than me or my team, and I can measure this impact, right? So this aspect really resonates well with OKR as a goal setting framework, because they're really coming from the right mindset. So OKRs, they give you some high level goal, which is a purpose, right? And they also tell you this is how you're going to measure if you are going in the right direction. So they help you to align on the purpose and the impact of initiative. It's very different from saying, build and release this, where you might say, well, fine, and then what, right? Then saying, this is the high level purpose that you're trying to achieve in your team, and you will have the ability to decide how you're going to achieve that. And that's the second point, autonomy. Defining OKRs, you don't need to tell the teams how to achieve goals and what to build and how to build it to get there. So coming back to your question, Amit, I would say, yes, there is some mindset behind OKRs which really resonate with these elements and with the agile mindset in general. So I would say in a company that is mostly waterfall, but trying to, there is interest in applying OKRs as goal setting framework, I would say they need to be backed up by mindset. So then, yes, I would recommend to do this in a pilot where you have favorable condition, the right people, the right mindset, the right sponsor. So yeah, that would be my recommendation. Thanks, Giovanni, for sharing. There is a quick video that explains Dan Pink's idea regarding this. Thank you very much. Really recommend to watch the video and to read the book. Right. Another pit stop. So yes, so you can add more questions, but we also have the one previously from the previous one. For the time being, I don't understand OKR's advantage over SMART objectives. So SMART objectives is also another goal setting framework. It's not, I would say I prefer OKRs, and many companies have preferred OKRs because there is this part of the high-level goals that is supposed to give the purpose. The measurement is embedded, and then it leaves autonomy and gives purpose to the teams. SMART objective is also a goal-setting framework. It's not like it's, I wouldn't say it's wrong or worse or better. I would say use the one that is better suited for the mindset of the organization. SMART goals, for people that don't know, I don't remember all the acronym, but basically is a way to define very measurable objectives. So they need to be, I think, small, measurable, achievable, relevant, and I don't remember the T now. But the concept is the same, right? It's timely. Yes, thank you, Domingo. So the concept is the same. If you want to have a goal, you should also define how you measure success. So you can use SMART. I wouldn't say that. I would say you can try different experiment and then pick the one that is working best for your organization. OKRs have become very popular also because many companies have started using them. So yeah. Right. How many OKRs should a team and organization have? Right. I would go with the hated, it depends, but I would say a bit more. So, of course, if you have too many OKRs, it becomes confusing, right? And one of the key elements of OKRs is they need to help you to be focused. So, if that number of OKRs that you have is it really, like, you have a few, but it clarifies better and it doesn't confuse, then I would say it's fine. But it really depends a lot on complexity of the organization, complexity of this individual OKRs. Usually, if you have too many, it can be overwhelming. There is this magic number of, between 3 and 5 or 5 and 7, but let's say between 3 and 5 that they say, even in the slide, don't put more than 5 bullet points, right? There is this magic number where after that, it seems that human brains, they go into cognitive load. So, if it was me, I would try to keep them between 3 and 5, but it really, really depends. It really depends. Your verification is if they feel confusing and overwhelming, then they're too many. And then you need to decide which one are the really, really, really important. Okay, so I'll mark this as answered, if that's okay. Oh, okay, this is, I actually haven't looked at Smarter, so that's a good insight. I'll look at that. Thanks for sharing this. Right, moving on. So how to use them? I won't go like very specific in the detail, but usually what happens, there is a cycle inside of the cycle, right? So there is change of the quarter, company OKRs get defined, then aligned to those, you define team OKRs, and then you define personal OKRs. So company OKRs, they're supposed to be, as we said, high level. They are defined by people high in the organization, business people. They should be ambitious and inspiring. So when I read that, I would, I need to think, okay, that's cool. We're going to make a big impact with that. Of course, they need to be tied, related to the vision and mission. And then they need to be shared and visible and accessible with the whole organization and discussed with representative of each business area team. This could be, usually they are annual and related to the H or the quarter. So an example. I made an example with the fake company Acme, which is used by Willy the coyote to build these crazy devices. So example, objective, increment profit and scalability at the company level. I know it's not particularly inspiring, but this is bear with this example. So KR1, launch the main product in 3 main countries. Reduce operating costs by 20% and increment profits from the sales in the UK by 15%. This is a total example made up. So I'm sure that if you dig down, you might make them better, but it gives the idea of what a company OKR might look like with goals and measurements. And then team OKRs. So for example, some characteristic. Ideally, they should really be owned by the team. If not defined entirely by the team, defined heavily by the team. They need to be related to the company OKRs. And then one thing that I would really suggest for the team OKR is define how to score them. And also review them every 2-4 weeks. If you work, for example, if it's a Scrum team, I would review them maybe at the end of every sprint, or at least every 2 sprints. Now, what is the score? So imagine that you say, okay, we are actually, well, let's see the example. There is the Acme example. So this is the platform team. It's a backend team that it's is creating the platform on the base of the services of this Acme company. So for them is they will improve the scalability and reduce the cost. And how they do that? They reduce machine run costs by 40%. So that there's the payment that they pay to Amazon or Microsoft for the machine run in the cloud. And then centralize the authentication service by, for example, and using industry standard. Could be Auth0, could be anything, but this is a team OKR, and usually this should be written by the team, supported by a representative of the business. That could be a product manager, product owner. Now, going back to the score, right? Imagine this team, they reduced the machine run by 25% instead of 40. What happens? Have they failed? How do we score this? And then, so many teams, what they do is they say, okay, if we achieve 70% of that, we say it's a success, right? So don't make me count at this time of the day what is 70 or 40%, but if they're nearly there, if they're 30%, yeah, success. We've done it. We said that it should be really ambitious, right? Then if they achieve 0.3%, 30% of that, then okay, it's not great, but it's not bad either. So we moved in that direction. So we can say that we've done okay. Next time, then this should trigger conversation around what could we have done to do better. Does it mean that this goal will have to be the same next quarter, or was the goal really too ambitious and next time we need to be more cautious? Then if you achieve 10% of this, again, this won't be used to say the whole team will be fired. This will be used as a learning process where you say, okay, this specific measurement this needle really didn't move much. So what does it mean? And then there should be a learning opportunity there for the team and the organization to then plan better for next year. Okay, personal OKRs. This should be discussed with your manager. They can be reviewed in one-to-ones. They should be reviewed in one-to-ones to make them, relevant. They need to be aligned to the team OKRs, but I'll say something a bit more about this. And usually, it's good to have feedback from other people, not only from your manager, especially if your manager is not working in the same team as you, or they don't exactly know what you do on a daily basis. It's good to have feedback from other people. Now, when I say align to the team OKRs, this is not, actually, let's see the example. So, for example, for one individual in the Acme company for the platform team, the objective could be help reduce the technical debt and improve the build pipeline. So help reduce the build time by 30%, contribute to automate the release checklist and reduce the execution time by 50%, and reduce the tech debt backlog by 40%. Now, I want to say here that the way to define personal OKRs is not to get a KR from the team and just say, you're in charge of that, right? So then if the team fails the KR, it's you. That's being you, right? So this is not the spirit. The spirit is, all right, given your skills, where do you think you can help best the team to achieve their OKRs? So the team OKRs are still responsibility of the whole team, but this is about matching the individual skills or the individual interest towards that direction, right? And also when I say aligned, it means that they need to help the team to go in that direction, but an individual might have some personal goal, which is, regardless of where my team is going, I want to learn more about Scala, or I want to become a better public speaker. And that should also be in the individual OKRs, if that's something that will help the individuals to become, to improve, basically, to do better. Hello, Andrea. Bye, Andrea. Right. So this is an example of the three OKRs and how they fit with each other. Now, couple of tips. One problem that I've seen with OKRs is that it takes some time to build them at the company level, especially the first few times. Like everything, when you start trying them, they feel really heavy, they feel really difficult. But of course, the advantage of using them should, be more than the cost, and also the cost of implementing them it gets better every time. After 2-3 iterations, it gets better. But then one mistake usually is that you spend much time to define them and then you forget about them. So you don't review them, you don't discuss them anymore, which is also something that happens, with individuals, right? You discuss with your manager, you have some goals, and then you just forget about that. They don't come up in the conversations anymore. So one good way to keep them relevant is make them visible, accessible. Some companies, they used to print them and put them on the walls. close to the teams. Now we are all living in our own flats for the time being, but of course you can have them visible in a tool or in a simple spreadsheet. So review the progress, like the showcase could be a good moment to review that. And ideally they should be integrated with your tracking software. So one tool that I've used in the past, I would say if you're starting with OKRs, as long as the mindset behind is good, I think anything will do. A document, a conference page, a spreadsheet, it's fine. Then if you're doing fine and then you want to have a better tool support, then Weekday is a good tool that I've used and it works really well. It integrates with Jira and it's really user and friendly to set up. Right. How am I doing with time? Let's see. Do we have enough time for our exercise?
Yeah, I'm just passing the Miro board.
Yes, we should have enough time. Right. So now I would like to do the interactive part. Thanks, Pino. So we are gonna divide in groups using the breakout room in Zoom. It will be groups of 5-6 people. And then Pino has shared in the chat a link to a Miro board that we're gonna use. And so please click that and actually I'll do the same and share the screen with you. So now I stop this presentation. All right. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
I'm lost in the Zoom windows. Right. So this is the board. Let me know if you see it, if you have access. So what we're going to do is we're going to spend 15 minutes to write OKR as an example for Netflix. Here you have the vision and mission for Netflix to keep under your eyes if you want. By Anna. And what we're going to do is when we break out in rooms, you'll have a room number. So look for the rectangle with your room number. And in your group, discuss what could be a good OKR for Netflix for H1. So from January to next 6 months. And you discuss that, and then you use the sticky notes to write the objective and write a few KRs. I said between 3 and 5, but whatever you manage to do, it's fine. And then after you've done that, we'll debrief all together. So you'll come out to the main room in Zoom and we'll discuss a couple of how many we have time to discuss. Keep in mind some of these questions that might help in the discussion in the group. So is it ambitious is not enough? Is it aligned to the vision? Does it inspire me? Can I measure it? How do I know? How will I score the KR? Right? Is that clear, the exercise? Right. So I'll then, okay, I'll stop sharing my screen and then okay.
Let's go with the breakout rooms.
The breakout rooms. Hello, everyone. How was it?
Great.
Good, good.
We are ready to fight with Netflix to create another Netflix.
Yeah. So the thing is, yeah, we're now going to use. We are actually working with Netflix, and we're just. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. So I share my screen. I'll just pick up one random room. I was not in because we have only a few minutes left. So I will take a look at 1 or 2. So for example, room 3, objective, be the world leader in subscription video services. Sounds ambitious. I feel inspired by it. KR1, increase paying subscribers by 30%. Yeah, measurable. Signed up new distribution services with local TV networks in US within 6 months. Okay, this is related to a country. There's a time frame. Increase average customer feedback rating from 8 out of 8 out of 10. Release 3 new features, produce at least 3 award-winning shows, win 10 Emmys. Okay, that's really ambitious. Right, so they all look good to me. I'm not sure about KR4 because it doesn't say what features. So I think it's fine to say if you have a KR saying, release this, it's okay. I would rather have something more in the lines of the impact of that release more than the actual, just go live. So in this case, it's a bit vague in terms of what these releases are and what they will provide in terms of goal. But I guess, this could be maybe a draft of KR that then gets more, clarified with the team. Right. Anything you want to say from room 3 in terms of how was it? How did you feel?
I was in room 3. It was okay. I nearly wrote one to say, destroy Amazon Prime and and Disney.
Yes. Yeah. That sounds good. Especially Disney now. Many people are angry about what they're doing with Star Wars. So, right. Room 5. Objective to be a valuable partner for our supplier. Yeah, so as you've seen, the mission statement was really clear on different stakeholders, right? There's the customers, suppliers, investors, and even the team, the employees of the company, which is great. So in this case, you're focusing on the suppliers. Take a decision on supplier, offer in 1 week max. So kind of, speeding up. This is not sure how usually, so it's good, it's measurable, but usually what you do is, how was it before? How is it faster than before, right? So you could say in 1 week instead of 2, or you can say, faster, 50% faster. Share with supplier clear requirement, at least 10 new episodes every 6 months. Yeah, measurable, clear, increase 10% of spots per day for new contents. Yeah, room 5, how was it? How was the experience? Any comments you have?
It was me and Luisa, and I find it really hard because I'm not used to this kind of stuff. So, but yes, for the KR1, now it's clear with your tips that it has to be measurable, the before and after. And yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so time's up. In terms of the slides, we are done. I just want to share this. I really like this sentence to kind of wrap it up. So a dream written down with a date becomes a goal. A goal, when you break it down in steps, becomes a plan. And then a plan backed by action becomes reality. So yeah, I just wanted to finish with this inspiring or not sentence. And then that's it. These are the links. Of course, we're going to share the PDF of these slides, but this is the links to our website and LinkedIn page.
Yes,
so,
Emanuele, I just brought everyone on the board on the feedback side.
Yeah.
If you like, we really would appreciate one of your feedback in terms of, yeah, I liked it, or I wished as a suggestion for future.
Please. Yes, that would be great. This board will also be available for some time. So if you have to go now, feel free to go. But of course, if you can leave some feedback, that would be really great. Okay, anything else? All right, cool. Then, especially for Italy, you're past your dinner time, I guess. So I'll let you go. And thanks for your time. And see you soon again on the Agile Reloaded meetups. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Nice evening.
Thanks, bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good evening.
Bye bye.
Ciao, ciao Daniela.
Ciao ciao cari.
Alla prossima.
Alla prossima. Com'è andata? Ti è piaciuto?
Un più, anzi un 10 più per la musichetta.
Complimenti.
Era bellissima.
Ha spaccato.